My first guest is a Jamaican-born rapper whose hits have kept us grooving for nearly 20 years. I can't believe it's been this long. Sean Paul is here to tell us about his new dancehall album, his career journey, and so much more. And later on the show, we're talking to music mogul and executive producer Master P and the team of his new BET Plus film. Please welcome Sean Paul to the show. Hello, Sean Paul.
Hey, Claudia, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thanks for being here. How are you just out the gate? Just how are you doing? 2020, 2021 has been a lot for a lot of people. So how are you doing?
Yeah, 2020 was a lot. I took about 5 months kind of just crawled away like in my house, like not doing anything. I was speaking to a friend of mine in the biz and he was like, bro, we can't listen and talk at the same time. And that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I don't want to say nothing on a record. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to go to anywhere. So I was kind of nervous, just got back from tour in Australia in February last year. And then I've been home in Jamaica since. And after the 5 months of like being in a shell, I started to go back to the studio and kind of like realize that the virus or, this whole situation that we're in, we can try to use our brain to go around it, have good sanitation, which is a norm, but also just be extra careful and use the mask and the social distancing. So I started to come on my show, go to the studio more, and, the juices start popping, So I had a couple of songs that I was working on from before, and I just put them all the works together and started to finish everything. And I have 2 new albums as a result. So with the little bit of nervousness and the I guess the fret about what's happening. I have asthma. I've also had great musicians in Jamaica who have been affected, and we lost them. So RIP to people like Toots, and a friend of ours, Barry, who was a producer. So Barry O'Hare. So it kind of came close, and I just decided, let's use my brain, go back to the studio, use the time positively, and 2 albums later now. So I'm ready to drop soon.
Well, we're definitely going to talk more about your music a little bit later in the show, but I wanted to know, it sounds like you were kind of going through it a little bit for a few months. I'm sure as a musician, it's hard to be inspired and motivated to make fun music that, we're going to be jamming to later on. So did you go through a little bit of a depression with being locked up or, kind of being isolated away from everybody?
Yeah, but with everything, I look at the positive side. So, I used to tour about 6 months out of the year, which was great. I love to tour, but also I had less family time at that time. And so now the positive side of it for me is the family time. I have a son who's going to be 4 on Saturday. And his name is Levi, and my daughter is Remy, and she's like a year and a half. So that's just giving me a whole new perspective on it. Because coming and going, you think you got it down, and then being here 24/7, I think I'm a much better dad for it. So that was one of the positives, and the time to be in the studio as well.
It's I talk to people every night on the show, and it's interesting that most people like yourself, of course, very busy before all this, would never have thought that you could actually ever sit down for this long, right? And then because of it, all these other little blessings are coming out of it, like better time, closer relationship with the kids and with the family, and just kind of realizing other things. So I hear you celebrated your 40 great, what'd you say, 40 great?
40 great, yeah.
40 great birthday last month. So happy belated birthday. How were you able to celebrate?
Just family and friends. At the time we were having the restrictions also, gatherings less than 15 people. So, and usually I don't do a big party all the time. So it was, again, just a few friends and family. My mom and my grandma. My grandmother's 96, so I've been very, especially careful to not try to bring anything home in terms of or people over that's just extra outside of the circle type of things. Yeah. You kind of had to tighten the circle. So yeah, the studio people and people at home kind of vibes. Well, but it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, definitely.
Now we're about the same age, so we were talking before we started the show about how we got to wear these things all the time
Yes, man.
those years been creeping up on us. So
Yeah.
what's been the worst thing to you? Give me something good and something not so good about getting older.
Being a lot wiser, of course. You know, I've been through situations. I'm able to see them far off now, and like, oh, I'm not going down that street now. At this time in my life, and that's something I think everybody happens to everyone. But yeah, the bad things is, you know, you play 3 days of basketball and then his knees start hurting, and also, yeah, you know, looking at like your phone, kind of like squinting and doing that. So, but I mean, with everything, as I said, there's positives. So, you know, for me, it's about the experience and being able to teach others right now.
Well,
you know what I mean? And, what?
I was shocked that we're the same age. You just have like from what I've seen outside of looking in, you just have like a youthful, fun vibe. Like, you know, yes. You're still bringing that. And I want people, all you little 20, 30-year-olds out there, 48, 40 great is not old.
It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. There's little hitches. And may I say, you don't look anywhere near 40. So
thank you.
Bless yourself. You know what I mean?
I can barely see and I can't cross my legs too long. But other than that,
you still doing it. You're still doing good.
Sean Paul, we've got some comments for you in the YouTube page. The comments they're loving you. Shawnee says, I love Sean Paul and his music. Jason says, Sean Paul kept us jamming. Yolanda says, Sean Paul always wears shades. And Nettie says, such a beautiful accent. They're loving that accent. And Ebony says, happy Earth Strong, Sean. Like, there's nothing but positive vibes in the comments for you. So
thank you. I appreciate that so much. To all the fans, you know what I mean? So,
they love you. Listen, I've never heard anything bad about you. Like, you've managed to have so many years in this business with like keeping, you know, just I can't even last 2 months without me saying something I'm not supposed to say. So we're gonna get into how you was able to pull that off. But a few weeks ago, you posted a shout out to Ashanti and Keisha Cole for their VERZUZ battle. Are you interested in doing a VERZUZ battle? And if so, who would it be with?
My VERZUZ, I like the platform. Definitely do. There go Keisha winding herself up. I definitely like the platform, and I respect the people who put it on, and also the artists who go and do it. But for me, it kind of reminds me a lot of clashing. And I just kind of told myself I don't want to do no clashing vibes, where in Jamaica and dancehall music, in our genre, we clash a lot. We go at each other lyrically and that kind of stuff. And you know, I've had a lot of friends that's kind of like been affected by violence in my country, and so I just don't want to. I think it's just too soon still, you know what I mean? So for me, I'd like to celebrate music in a different way. I really appreciate the platform, but there's other things that I did enjoy during the same time as when VERZUZ popped up, like Quarantine Radio. Big up to Tory Lanez, you know what I mean? And I think that was more of just like enjoying music instead of this person against that person. So for me, I don't want to do it. Now, a lot of people want to put me up against Shaggy, against Pitbull, against, you know, similar types of music. And I just wanted to, I think it's about time for more collaboration within musical genres, and especially my own genre. So that's kind of what I did on this album as well. There's a lot of collabs.
You know, it seems like in the beginning, I thought it was going to be more versus like actually a competition. But then it seems like somewhere along the way, some of the artists have been really showing love to each other. And it really, it can be kind of what you make it. Like, if you want it to be love, then it's love. And if you want it to be like, you know, it's me versus you, I'm going to beat you. That's something else.
Yeah, but I think in this time, I think everybody would have to graduate more to the love side of things. You know what I mean? Because that's especially, but just me personally, I couldn't go. I can't take it there for right now. You know what I mean?
Fair. You know what? That's totally fair. Now, you're one of the leaders in dancehall music. What do you think about other artists who are not Jamaican, copying that sound without giving proper props and credit to his roots, because it happens often.
I love the fact that our music is getting more popular and that people all around the place is doing it. Like when hip hop was a music that broke in the Bronx, and then it kind of spilled over into Brooklyn and in Queens, and then spilled down to Miami, down south, and over in the West Coast. You understood it was getting bigger. So maybe Bronx cats would kind of feel like, oh, they took it away from us. But then you see France and Germany and also Japan. And that just meant that it's unstoppable. You know what I mean? The music itself and the form itself is unstoppable. And so the key players that laid the foundation for hip hop have always been kind of like in everybody's consciousness. So I feel the same way about dancehall music.
Mm-hmm.
I just would like the accolades. I would like people to say, oh, I was heavily influenced by the sound of dancehall. Because we're a genre that spawned a lot of people in the pop world right now to kind of use a backbeat that was invented by just the genre itself and how we play music. We've affected what Afrobeat sounds like in the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. We've affected the rest of the Caribbean's music, Latin America's music with also reggaeton. So, we also win a Grammy every year and we never get our accolades. Our thank you speech is never broadcasted, which is something I think is very important for the genre.
Really?
Yeah, we never get broadcasted. You hear earlier in the night, so-and-so won the reggae Grammy, and we're never thank you. When we're a very powerful music at this point in time, people like Shaggy, people like myself, young, talented artists coming up, such as Coffee. And I just think that if you're going to do our music without saying, even in interviews, I owe it a lot to Jamaica and the people who do this in the dancehall world. If you don't say that enough to me, it feels like, like suppose I went to do Willie Nelson's music and said it was my new flavor.
Right.
You know what I mean? People who are young right now, they kind of will be like, oh, well, he's innovative, he's different. I
actually, until you said that,
weird about it.
I'm sorry to cut you. I didn't realize that it was never broadcast. Like, because dancehall music is it's so popular. Yeah, I never even realized that was happening. That is a travesty. The Grammys been kind of getting called out and put on blast lately for a lot of the other shady stuff. So hopefully, when we get back on track, they can start making these adjustments, because I think that's absolutely ridiculous. No,
it's a powerful music now. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's again, like you said, its influence is felt all around the world. So next week is, before we go to break, I want to ask real quick. Next week is the 15th anniversary of your hit song "Temperature." I can't believe it's been that long. How does it feel to celebrate this milestone 15 years later?
Well, I've been touring since early 2000s, probably late 90s, mm-hmm. but heavily touring since the early 2000s. So most things have been a whirlwind, and it felt like life was standing still, because I'm always doing the same things. I'm in the studio, coming up with fresh ideas. I'm flying to shows, entertaining people, and they're all like, yeah. So naturally, I started to like be in like a kind of bubble, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I would come home and see my friends' kids growing up, and I start going, oh wow, time is passing. I'm just not noticing it. And then it happened to me. I have my own kids, and I'm seeing, within 4 years, he's telling me all kind of big words and stuff like that. So it was a whirlwind, and to look back at it now and say, wow, 2006 Temperature was the biggest song on the Billboard charts, and that's amazing. I've always tried to strive for, having songs back there, and I've done it pretty much a couple of times, and it's just amazing. Sometimes I feel like it's a dream, and so thank you to the fans and people who appreciate my music, the young and the ones who have been there from day one. You know what I mean?
I appreciate your humility and how humble. I appreciate your humility and how humble you're being. But you did that. Like, you did that, and you're still doing it, and much respect to you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Paul's going to give us the details on his new album when we return. We are back with Out Loud with Claudia Jordan. Now, if you want to see more Foxhole content, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you hit that notification bell to get all the best updates, new videos, and live shows. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and tell us how you feel in the comment section, because we read all your comments. Now, I am here with one of the kings of dance hall music. Y'all better give him his props because he is doing it. Grammy award-winning international superstar artist, Sean Paul. Now, before we get into your album, I just want to ask you about something I know that is dear to you. Can you tell us about the Sean Paul Foundation and the charity work that you're doing in Jamaica? I think that's really important for people to know about this.
Yeah, thank you. I found myself in a position of grace. You know, I mean, God has blessed me, and there's many different things that people can get into when being blessed and kind of forget the blessing itself. So I'm thankful that I have my family around me that kept me grounded. And Jamaica is a third world country. You know, I have a lot of people that need help, and so it starts out like me just, you know, doing my music, and people who are like, you know, important to me, like DJs. I see my life stepping up and progress happening in my life. And the DJs, I play my own music, they're not having the same experience. And they play me when I'm in Timbuktu, or, you know, I'm all over the world, and they play me here. They keep my sound alive. So it starts off by making sure they're okay. And then my band also is something that I kind of try to make sure is always, the musicians are always taken care of. And then, you know, it starts spilling over into just people who need help. And after a few years of giving to, like, Shaggy has an initiative where he helps a children's hospital, which I've given to many years. I've done the show. He does a show every couple of years, and we give money as well to the children's hospital. You know, they need a lot of equipment and that kind of stuff. And I've helped schools. I decided that this year, is being such a tough year, I was going to start the foundation to kind of make it be a bigger thing than just helping people who I know are extensions of who I know. So, like, I teamed up with Food for the Poor, which is a institution out here that is pretty transparent. They give a lot of money that they get, and, you know, a lot of people kind of do the opposite. They keep a lot for themselves and give a little bit towards the cause. But I think Food for the Poor was very good. They help people in need a lot. So we did care packages for a lot of people, which included, you know, cleaning stuff and food staples. But also we help organic farmers. Organic food is very important to me. And it was kind of supposed to be a drought year, kind of where a lot of things were dry. So we built watersheds, 3 of them so far, that catches the water, and they're able to, you know, utilize it and water the farm and still have crops even in those times. And then we did iPads for kids, 100 iPads so far. We're doing more watersheds, and we're doing more iPads soon. The kids are at home. I've seen it myself. Homeschooling is nuts. And so, you know, the iPads kind of help them to keep a little bit of focus while they're at home not doing anything. And I teamed up with a phone company called Flow for that, which they gave them free data. So about 2 months, they're going to have free data for the iPads and be able to kind of attend school in a year that's been crazy. So
very nice.
Pretty soon I'm trying to, you know, have people, you know, if you wish to help any cause like this that I'm speaking about in Jamaica, I'll be able to tell you where to help, to donate. But it's an important thing to me. You know, as I said, I feel like God has blessed me. So to give back to the people who helped to make me is just a second, you know, what you call it, just a natural thing for me.
Second nature. I love it. Now, I got to ask you this question because the fans want to know. In 2003, you performed on Beyonce's hit song, Baby Boy. Everyone loved the song, huge hit. And there were rumors about tension on the set of the very sexy video. Tell us what happened. It was sexy. I was like, ooh, okay.
Dope video.
It was. And I know you had fun doing that video. So tell us what happened and describe your professional relationship with Beyonce.
I think she's one of the most professional, talented people, very focused that I've met in the biz. thus far still. You know, I remember she came to Jamaica way back when Destiny's Child had one song. And they came and I opened for them at the time, or I believe it might have been vice versa, because Jamaica, it was kind of different at the time, and they only had one song on the charts. So they were relatively just starting out group. And, you know, for about 2 years after that, or 3 years, we hadn't kept any contact. But then I got a call from management. I said about 4 years later, like, yo, you know, Beyonce is doing her own solo album, and I had an opportunity to get on it, and I jumped on it. I was like, yeah, definitely. We did it the first take via internet, and then I flew to Miami to meet her to kind of finish the song and just kind of speak about what the, you know, the plan was going to be. But there was a mix up in terms of on the video shoot. When I got there the night before the video shoot, I was told I'm not in any scene with her, which to me at the time, the way I was thinking about the video was totally different. I thought we were gonna kind of act something out. So I guess with the rest of my team and everybody in Jamaica wanted to see me paired up with a star that she'd become huge. We're kind of disappointed. So people kind of got like that vibe, like, oh man, what's happening? And then rumors started to happen, and you know, we did several performances together. But you know.
So is it true that, like, okay, I'm gonna ask the obvious. Is it true that Jay-Z was uncomfortable with you being around Beyonce? Because I mean,
I've never spoken to him about that, or we did speak, me and her, in Europe at one point when the rumors got crazy about, you know, me not being let anywhere around her. And I'm like, listen, we know it's crazy rumors. I'm sitting here talking to you. So she was like, you know, rumors follow me at this time a lot, and we just have to work through it. I didn't see Jay-Z until I think the Grammys the next year. And we just kind of, he shook my hand. We spoke briefly. I've never really had that big of a relationship with either of them, business-wise, yeah. And I would say probably more speaking to her camp, because that song became so huge. So yeah.
So did the people
rumors is rumors, you know?
Did people put more on it than really was there, or?
Yeah, for sure. People put more on it than it was there. And I've been to radio stations in Texas, and they're like, come on, you know you was with, and I'm like, no, bro. And they've already made up their mind. And it's for fun in the morning shows, I guess, and for stuff like that. But it's not something I've ever been like, oh yeah, this and that happened. I've always said, no, nothing didn't happen. And it was pretty much a hit song that stirred up a lot of people's emotions, I guess.
It did. And you know what? So, I think because it was such a sexy song and y'all looked great in the video together, people, I understand why people would want to see the interaction. But then there's this complicated thing because, you know, she is with Jay-Z. I get it. It's got to be like, it had to be kind of frustrating too, dealing with all that. But hey, if it makes more eyeballs, more people download that song or play it.
Hey, for sure.
So be it.
For sure,
so we gotta get to the album before we go. Let's talk about your new album that's coming out on March 12th.
Well, I got 2 albums this year. One is coming out March 12th. It's called Livin. The other one is called Scorcher, and it will come out in May. Livin is kind of my statement to people who say that dancehall as a genre, because of the low numbers right now, is dead. I kind of want people to check the pulse, you know what I mean? So everyone who I worked on this album with, just naturally living here in Jamaica, but when I fly back and forth a lot, I'm doing recordings elsewhere and with other producers. So this is the first time in a long time I've been able to sit at home and just kind of cultivate just a great album. So more hardcore dancehall. It's what people know me for. So big up to people like Buju Banton is on the album, a hero of mine, someone who's been through a lot of trials and tribulations in his career and has come out still shooting a lot of good music at us and inspires me still to today. Busy Signal, yeah?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to play a quick little snippet of Scorcher before we go so people can You mind?
Okay, let's do that.
Let's play a
Let's do
little
that. Let's do that.
the title track.
Pan it pepper when me fling pan it data. Man a sculpture. Me hot like the sun, make them run them water. This and a torture, me giving them a lot because me tough like a concrete mortar. Man a sculpture.
Make me want to do some old school dancing right here.
Yeah.
That's hot. Man, I
Thank
cannot wait to get back out and be able to be partying amongst the people with music like that. Like it's
myself. And this is like the meantime, you know. In the meantime, we're gonna be doing just music to keep everybody's mind in that gear, and we'll see how it goes, you know.
Well, we respect you. We appreciate you. Back-to-back albums. We have 30 seconds before we go. Any other projects you're working on that you want to mention before we go?
First album is coming out live and living in March the 12th, and the second album is in May, and it's called Scorcher. And I just thank everybody for supporting me, and thank you for giving me the time tonight.
No, we appreciate it. It's been a pleasure and great to finally meet you. You're amazing. I've been watching you since early 2000s. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to thank Sean Paul for joining me tonight. Make sure you represent and get both those albums, back-to-back albums. And he's bringing that heat like always.